and welcome to another episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. We have a huge, amazing, epic guest today. We've got Michael Scharf with us. He is most known for being the brother of David Scharf, who did our incredible screenwriting episode, one of our favorites and one of the our most downloaded episodes of the year. But he also happens to be a longtime friend, a super talented artist, and one of the co-creators of Do, Re, and Me on Amazon Prime. Of course, we should have started with that because that's a really big deal. But Michael Scharf is with us. We're going to get to him in a moment. Get into his origin story and hear a lot about what went into creating the incredible show Do, Re, and Me, which everyone knows we have been watching with the kids. But before we get started, I always like to check in with my sisters. Lily, it seems I know how you're doing, because you just seem to be in the general state of visiting doctors that our family does. Like, go on vacation and you get sick. Like, the pandemic is terrifying, but I have never been on vacation with you ever without you needing antibiotics or shots in your butt or anything like that. Is that accurate? Is that your current state?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't let a pandemic stop me.
Right,
from
exactly.
getting sick on vacation and going to the doctor and then bringing a kid or two along. Yeah. No way.
And Becky, you have crossed international borders. You're sitting in an outdoor lukewarm hot tub as we speak in the
this
frozen
is Becky's
north.
first foray out of the country in a long time.
I've been on an
I have journeyed to what can only be known as the hottest club in Ottawa. It has everything. It has a murder that definitely took place in the basement of this house. It has ghosts rattling around during the night, true story. And it has all the sour cream you don't want to eat. Yeah. I am nowhere else.
Your Russian in-laws murder house.
My Russian in-laws.
So is there still a chalk outline from the murder in the house?
No, but I have to tell you, there are some very interesting design choices in this house that make it feel extra murdery in the basement. So
is that where your room is, or is that just where you're?
No.
Now, just to be clear,
but it was
because this is not a murder podcast. Your in-laws are not the suspects.
No, it happened before they bought the house.
Okay,
it happened before they bought the house. And I have to tell you, other than the couple of ghosts that definitely are here, because 100% everybody was in their bed last night. It was 2:00 in the morning. The kids are sleeping soundly in their beds. My in-laws, I know they're snoring. I can hear them sleeping. And the baby gate at the top of the stairs, it just starts rattling fiercely.
I'm terrified.
Literally.
I can never visit the house. And I love your in-laws. They are the best.
I don't know how.
This is my nightmare.
I woke up loud and I was like, wow, there's definitely a ghost in here. And he's like, yeah, but we were just both so tired. We went back to bed. I mean, there's nothing.
Chances are it's
making noise.
Well, if anyone could fight a ghost, it's your husband. Lily's husband,
with a pencil,
martial arts champion. But Lily's
you
husband,
can't kick and punch a ghost. You have to be kind of
erase him. With an eraser, what would Vlad do?
Now, speaking of one with the spirits, actually, I don't know how this is a segue, but let's get to our guest, Michael Scharf. We have known Michael. I've known Michael since he was. Let's see, if I was 13 when I became friends with your brother, and I've known you since you're about 10 years old, and widely known since then as one of the most talented artists that any of us knew in all of our network. And now you're a big macher in the world of animation and children's entertainment, such that every single Hanukkah and birthday present I bought for Becky's children was a Do, Re, and Me product. We've got the guitars, the
piano,
the giant piano,
the floor piano.
Multiple versions of the shirts, because I got Becky's daughter one shirt, and she insisted she also have the shirt with Ray on it. So she has the Me shirt and the Ray shirt. The bath bombs, all the action figures and the playset.
The bubble bath, the shampoo, all the bath products, and all the toy house action figures. We have multiple sets of each of the characters. It is.
So you're
there's
now,
more coming out next year, I think. So just
I'm sure
make
we'll
you
own
save some
all
more
of it.
money.
so you're now
Oh,
you're
and the
now
guitar. No, we said the guitar.
oh the guitar. And so you're now raising our children. How does it feel to be raising people's children?
No, I mean, that sentence is pretty intimidating and scary. I'm glad that I had really good partners to make sure that we did everything right and consulted with the right educational experts and parenting experts to make sure we didn't blow it. But yeah, I mean, it's cool. I mean, the goal was that we make a musical show that supplements musical education because it's cut out of school systems, gives a good intro. And I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm getting a little cold feet, but like it's cool. It's what I set out to do, and it's a reality now, and it's a little, I guess, intimidating.
Now that it's real?
Now that it's real and you have kids walking around singing your songs?
It's been a wonderful force in my children's lives. They're 2 and 4. The lessons from the episodes are impactful for them. They remember them. And the songs they remember, as well. And we talk about what they learn in the songs. And sometimes we talk about being brave, or sometimes we talk about, doing good listening to each other. Because there's one episode, I think, where they're singing rounds and they have to listen to each other. And we talk about it, and it's as a parent, it's just a relief when you find something that your kids want to sit and watch, first of all.
And that's bearable for you to watch too. Because
it's bearable. And we sit and we watch it together, because I let my kids watch a lot of content, but there's a slice within that content that's the stuff that I want to sit and watch with them.
Exactly.
And
that's
is
key.
Adding value. And, it's so, it is intimidating for you to hear this, but yes, you directly have a role in how my kids are being raised.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm really glad that you pointed out some of the emotional lessons. A lot of people usually focus on just the music education that's in part of the show. And, yes, developing a child, there's a lot more than just songs and games. There's, what you're saying, like learning to take a rest or take a break, learning to listen to others, work as a team.
Being brave.
I also think being brave, taking risks, building confidence. The first episode, which I'm so curious. So I'm a drummer, and the first episode starts with rhythm. Yeah, and it's the building of the roller coaster, right? If I'm correct, right?
It's great. Such a great episode.
And Joe is trying to also launch, right? Joe's trying to launch, and I love that it's this mix of music foundational, right? Starting with rhythm. I'm curious, but then it's also it starts at this point of risk taking or adventure or excitement, right? I hope I got it right. Was that intentional to start at those two places, or you just sort of pick the best episode to start at?
I guess really like when you're picking out that first episode, it's being your show hasn't been sold or made yet. And so you're working with your production partners and kind of carving out something that will work in the room, or in the room in quotes. So you can really get an executive to understand how the show is going to be made episode by episode. So I guess that's just more one of the more simpler episodes that just kind of is easy to take, really simple to understand. And then you get a real feel of each different character. You have your emotional lesson, you have your musical lesson, you have your story arc, and then they can see how it can be made episodic for an entire series.
I love the way that you broke it down, the emotional, the musical, and then I'll just say you have a hook for kids, because Becky's kids, I go over in the morning and say good morning. She lives next door to me, so I go in the morning and say good morning, and I always ask them, what's your favorite part of Do Re Mi? And for the first 2 weeks, it was the roller coaster.
Yeah, and we had seen all the episodes, but they always go back to the roller coaster.
It's a really great first episode.
You also have this hook, this childlike hook, or this childlike wonder hook of building a roller coaster together. You're a grown up, okay? Your partners are incredibly creative people, and but they're grown ups too. How do you, as as grown up as any of us are here? So I get it. You all have childlike wonder, but how do you key into the things that you think kids are going to remember and pick, like a roller coaster or raspberry cupcakes, which I'm going to get to in a second.
I was about to say like raspberry cupcakes. We love the raspberry cupcakes episode.
How do you pick? I mean, I guess it's like when you're coming up with an episode, you sit down and you have to come up with like 5 to 10 paragraphs that break down what your emotional lesson is, what the theme of the musical genre is going to be, and what the musical lesson will be in that episode. And you have to combine all those things into some sort of a story arc that's easy to follow for that age group's brain development. So, for instance, you can't one of the big challenges when I was moving into preschool is understanding that like a kid's brain can't go back in time. So you have to learn to like make things completely going forward. There's all these like weird, linear. Yeah, thanks. I'm terrible with words, even though I write. It's just I guess part of the process is just throwing it out there and then having 10 different experienced minds coming back to you and explaining what works, what doesn't work, and everyone just, I guess when you're making this cartoon, you have all these different elements, right? You have your executives, you have your educational experts, you have your creative experts, you have your art experts, and everybody's coming to the same problem, trying to solve the same problem, but they all have different viewpoints on it. And so when you start off with that little paragraph, you send it out to everybody, and everybody gives their different notes and and then numbers which episodes they want and how you're going to develop that to move forward. So once you kind of you pick all these different experts' brains, you can kind of start molding something from everybody's different experiences throughout making shows for kids to get the best end product, or that's the goal. And hopefully, we achieve that, or at least with your family, we did.
Exactly. We are. Well, no, you definitely did. You definitely did. I don't think you can doubt it. My kids are a little bit older. They're your brother's age kids. They lived through Daniel Tiger. That was their formative show. I think the jams on Do, Re, and Me are 1,000 times better, all due respect to Fred Rogers and that company. You don't have to talk trash about the other shows. Don't worry.
No, I mean, that's the reason that I had partnered with Jackie, was because I didn't want to go and do something that's been done before. So, I started off mostly in an adult stand-up comedy, like writing and joke circle. And Jackie is also in that same circle. And I knew that her comedy would fit really well with this type of voice or this type of series, and that she would be loose enough to also like pull back the adult humor and still make things that are ridiculous, fun for little kids. Because she is, her, she's a ridiculous human being.
And so I'm just going to say you're talking about Jackie Tone.
Yes, Jackie Tone.
Who anyone who listens to the show knows is one of our all-time favorites.
Right. Sorry, continue.
Root for her always.
So I knew that she could pull back the adult humor, keep the wacky stuff up there, and then kind of make things that are more catchy and fun for the age group that I thought would be groundbreaking and really make the show stand out. And I guess I bet on the right horse.
So can I? Well, yeah. Can I ask a question, Chai? Are you?
Yeah.
Go ahead. I have.
I have
you
a
don't
question.
have to ask me to ask a question.
I just want to interject. So you were saying that.
I just hope your question's good, Lily.
Well, let's see. You were saying, so you were writing this, and thanks for sharing on how you would even write an episode for children, but you also animate. And so what came first? Like you had to pop the character in your head, or I want to make a show with Jackie, or I have a script that I want to write, because you seem to do everything. And so where did it start?
So it started where my two friends that used to have a successful blog about rap music, where they would make fun of rap lyrics. And as their career started blowing up, Vice Magazine reached out to them and asked them to make a musical comic strip for Noisy.com, which was their new music website coming out. And so they were like, "Oh, Mike, you just moved to LA. We don't really want to do this because it doesn't pay. Can you come up with if you're interested in this, we'll hand it off to you. And if you want, you can get a comic strip on Noisy.com. That'll be on the front page." So I took 2 weeks to brainstorm, and I guess it doesn't start off. It started off with a drawing, but it really more starts off with the concept of industrial design. So after I graduated college, I took a few years off to really focus on fine art, started working at the Art Students League, working at an art gallery in Chelsea. And I started reading books about industrial design because I thought I might go to grad school to learn how to make, the next light switch.
Right, which is an amazing career as it is.
So given the problem,
fun.
yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it actually would be fun. Maybe I will do that down the road. But if my career keeps going, I probably will never have the time. Hopefully that keeps happening.
Hopefully.
Yeah. But so I guess I was given this problem of making a comic strip for an adult music website. And I started brainstorming, how can that stand out? How can they be funny? How can we make it musical? And how can I have a solution there? So I came up with a music note and used in animation, everything's about puns. So, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. Do, re, mi is a public domain phrase. So I thought, if I can somehow brand one of those music notes and then re-own the phrase do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, I could then do really good adult humor in the realm of making fun of, different types of music coming out through a character who would be a music note named Ray. Once I had that idea, I took a step back and was like, if I was an adult, I don't think I'd really care to read a comic strip about a music note making fun of the music industry. But if I was a kid, I think I might really be into that. Mm-hmm. And then so I called up my friends and said, I don't want to do this stuff. I'm going to keep all my ideas for myself. And I'm gonna make it into
good for you, because a lot of people would feel like stuck and not kind of have that confidence to say, no, this isn't for me. I got my own idea. So that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I guess I took that, and then from there I started just brainstorming how I could brand the entire musical world into a TV show that can encompass musical education and really like hypnotize kids and bring them into this magical place. So the show at that point started becoming this idea of how would a musical world be inside of a music box. And so the entire show was supposed to be inside of a music box starring starring Ray, a music note, and his two best friends, who was at that time, or would be me and Doe, but it was a keyboard and I don't even remember what the other one was. I have to look at the pitch deck. And some other characters. And it was really, really wacky and out there. I'm lost. What was I talking about?
You were telling
giving
us
the origin story.
Origin story.
Me. This is amazing.
And what you started with.
The characters came first, the script, the design.
Sounds like you started with.
So we started creating all these different characters that I thought would be the most ideal thing to really rebrand the music industry for the intro to education in an original way, kind of like how Jim Henson used to do it. So it was really, really wacky. It took place inside of a music box. Music boxes have their little like princess. So there was a hip hop princess in there, and all the different random characters. Even like a guitar named Guitarlos who wore high heels and played his own face and was married to a pick named Pequeña.
Love that.
That ended up becoming.
Pequeña stayed in.
Yeah, Pequeña's still in there. All these characters are still in there, but we just jumped another dimension to birds, and that has to go that has to go with once we had, I guess, corporate partners. Their educational experts came in, and they thought that the best way. I mean, our main goal was to do this musical education and to get kids to absorb that. And it's for kids in the age group of 2 to 6 with their brains still developing. Abstract ideas are kind of looked down upon in the industry at that early age, and they're a little too confusing for kids, and they might bring up questions instead of having them really zone into the show and take out all the info. So they're like, is there a way that we could change all these characters to be something more musical and easier for kids to absorb? And then the idea was, well, we could just turn them into birds sing, and then we can kind of change everything around that. So I came up with this really wacky idea, and I had a few rough sketches, and I was backstage at the TV show Undateable, and Jackie was dating one of the actors on it, Rick Glassman, who has a TV show coming on Amazon next year, January 21st. I don't know the name of it. I want to Google it really quick. I'll get that later. But anyway,
Lily will do it. Our crack researcher, Lily Cornwell.
Yeah.
So I was backstage. I think I was having a whiskey with Brent Morin and Rick Glassman before they started doing their live recording for NBC, and I was telling them that I had this weird idea for a music preschool show, but I couldn't do it on my own. I really wanted a top-notch musical comedian to partner up with. And they were like, oh, well, Jackie Tone's out there, and she does musical comedy. So I went out there, and I kind of told Jackie a little rough thing, saying I had a music TV show I want to do. Maybe we could co-create it together. Meet me for a coffee, and let me like explain it to you. And then I did like the most obnoxious thing ever when we had coffee, where I slid her a rough sketch of the drawing and said, you know, if you make this show with me, you know, like all little kids around the world will know who you are, and we'll make like millions. The show will be able to make millions of dollars, and really produce something really cool and influential. And she was like, "Oh, you're a crazy person," but she's also a crazy person, and she agreed to start doing it with me. And I started just going to her house about once a week, and then I would just draw at home, developing the characters. Go to her house. We would, go back and forth about how we're going to develop these characters. And then at one point, I think I just realized that like I thought the show was going to be a guaranteed hit, and I told her just, you know, like let's stop, like let's just take a break here. I don't want you to tell anybody about this project. I'm going to animate the entire pilot ourselves. We'll write it ourselves. We'll do the music ourselves. Then we can put it on YouTube, get all the original IP, and we'll be really huge. And then a week later, she called me up apologizing because she was like, I was on a hike with my friend. And I told her about your project, and she really wants to do it with us. Would you be willing to meet with her? And she was like apologizing, and I was like,
you were like, no.
I was like, I was like, and then she was like, and my friend's name's Kristen Bell. And I was like, oh,
forgive it.
It's Princess Anna that would like to star in your show.
Water Bridge.
In that case.
So I was really excited, and at this time I thought Kristen Bell was Kristen Stewart.
Amazing.
I didn't realize that she was in Frozen.
Amazing.
You thought she was in Twilight?
If there's one thing I take away from this interview, it is that line. Because that's amazing.
Well, I'm not good with names, which I think gives me a benefit in the Hollywood industry, where I just have no idea who anybody is, and I can't remember names.
Fair. I think that's absolutely fair.
But that is very, I would say, to know your brother, very Scharfian. Like, you all have always navigated in this realm of cool, where you don't need to know people's names.
So, I've been doing a lot of thinking about that, and I think
aloofness, mysteriousness. That's definitely the word is mysterious. Yeah.
Huh. I just think a lot of that of us messing up words and getting all these names wrong has to do with my dad being Peruvian and having a thick Peruvian accent.
That is, your dad's accent is amazing.
And so I think hearing all that and like having that around my entire life, like when I spell things, I think I spell them phonetically for Spanish, but in English. So I always spell everything wrong. I always write everything wrong, and I always flip-flop everything, and I have to blame it on him.
So that's why you thought that Kristen Bell was the one from Twilight. Stewart. Amazing.
Yes. So on the way, so Jackie picked me up like in 2 days or something like that. We drove to Kristen Stewart's house, and we got out of the car, went in there, and walked into the kitchen. And Kristen Stewart was blonde, and then I was like, "Oh, this is a different person." And I got even more excited because I instantly knew that she was the lead of Frozen, which had just come out, and I was like, "Oh, this is even better." Like, we have the lead of Frozen. She's passionate about this project. She's really passionate about our cause, and the show's going to be musical education. I think that this is everything's just falling in line.
And luckily, extremely talented, because she's got a great voice. And it's not like at the very, it could have been a connection that was a great connection, but maybe not good for the show. And
she's a great voice. She's a great personality. She's caring. She's very protective of us. She's
that's awesome.
She's pretty much my champion of the industry at this point.
That's
awesome.
awesome.
Jackie really helped launch me.
That's great to hear. It's great to hear when people that you're fans of, we're fans of them, are good people. That's really great, and that they're out there.
Oh yeah,
care of
everything
friends.
That you read about her online and all that. It's all true. She is a philanthropist. She takes care of dogs and cats. She puts her times into so many charities. I mean, the first year when I saw her, we were like meeting, I think like once a month to do this program called Paths, which is they help give homeless people or homeless families their first home. And so I was just always meeting with Kristen, filling up people's houses with furniture that was donated by various people around LA.
That's awesome.
We would drive around in trucks, pick it up, and then go and
that's incredible.
Fill up a room for these new homes. And it was really sweet and encouraging, and I mean, being around some people that are that positive, it just gives you a lot of fuel to not want to fail them.
That's awesome.
That's a good that's a good reason want to do well.
But that being said, and I want to just go back into your history a little bit, because like I said, you're someone that if you knew you growing up, we always knew you were going to do amazing things. I remember at your brother's bachelor party, you had brought this pitch book or I don't know, character design book, whatever it was, to it of a show you had created called Captain Obvious, which I still remember the names of the characters. I still remember Dr. Troglodyte.
Oh, thanks.
Because I thought it was so inventive and so funny. It was like this sci-fi adult comedy cartoon, I think. At least that's how I remember it. But
yeah.
I do remember Dr. Troglodyte, and so I just assumed that was going to be the thing that was famous. But
so that shows is actually how I got into doing entertainment.
Oh, wow.
In high school, I was more of an athlete, and I was one of the
soccer.
Soccer, right?
I remember soccer.
I was a big soccer recruit in the country. I was playing in the minor league development team for the Metro Stars at the time, and my mom's friend was a professor at Rutgers University, and he was developing a cartoon based off of a 80s TV show called Talking with TJ, and they were turning it into an animated cartoon to figure out how kids receive information better from live action or cartoons. And I remember my mom drove me to this thing. I didn't want to get out of the car because I was like, this is stupid. I don't like drawing. This would be a waste of time. She was like, can I curse on the show?
Yes, you can definitely curse.
This is not a kid's show, although a lot of parents listen to it, so they're getting amazing insight into your show.
So she forced me to go into this thing, and there was a Disney feature film animator there, Eric Pacheco, and he was doing this project at Rutgers, and I auditioned for it. I did some drawings, and he allowed me to join the team to develop these characters. And at the end of the project, I ended up having the most character designs accepted into the project, and he offered to mentor me.
Wow, that's awesome.
And so I started meeting with him about once a week, and he would give me assignments, and that's pretty much all I would do. Like at lunch, I would just do the assignments, and I was like, oh, you can have a career just making worlds? I was like, sounds pretty cool. And then at the time, I was like, I could maybe go and play professional soccer, be like Division III, make not very much money per year, and then retire at 34 and become a coach, or I could, go and try to make these cartoons where this one person really believes in me. And I ended up putting together a portfolio. I asked him what the best film school in the country was, and he told me Tisch. So I put together a portfolio in like 2 weeks. I submitted it, and then my dad drove me to New York, where we walked past the security guards and went to the dean's office, and I showed him my portfolio and talked to him. And then they accepted me. So, I think actually that breaking into NYU was probably a good way for me getting in, because I think the dean remembered me. Maybe he's the reason I got in. But anyway, so I got in, called up the coaches that recruited me the day that I got in, and I told them all that I was not going to play anymore, and I was going to focus on animation.
That's a big decision.
And this was the person you ended up doing Captain Obvious with?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's like throughout high school, we were developing it. And then throughout college, like going through writing classes and art classes, I would do my education at NYU. And then I would also go and meet with Eric and like review the character design theory. So I would focus more on screenplay writing and directing at NYU. And then I would do the animation character design Disney theories with him, and then kind of combined them all together.
Did you always know going through school and then afterwards that you wanted to create something of your own, that when you were going to make something that you were going to be the lead on it? Or did you ever have the desire to be like, oh, maybe I should go try and get a job at DreamWorks or Disney or Pixar?
So I always wanted to do, at this point, I only wanted to be a character designer.
Interesting.
And I had recommendation from Eric at NY. I mean, dude, how many times I go? You know,
It's okay.
That's fine.
But anyway,
There's worse sounds you can make.
I met him. Wait, where was I? Oh yeah,
Character designer.
So I wanted to be a character designer, and he gave me recommendations for Disney feature, and then I really hit it off with the fine arts professor at NYU, and she would help me. She allowed me to come and assistant teacher classes, and then also help assistant teacher classes at the Art Students League, which was a little different because it was more nude drawing there and or light figure drawing and like Rembrandt painting. But through that, she knew Chuck Jones's family, and Linda Jones has this company, and they would always do these art shows at the Javits Center. And so she asked me to start, asked if I would go and help out at this thing. And through there, I also met Eric Goldberg, who is if you don't know him, he directed Pocahontas. He created the genie in Aladdin, or character designed the genie in Aladdin. Ooh. He looked through one of my sketchbooks and thought that I could also get an intro job at Disney. And so they both gave me a recommendation. I had the phone number to the head recruiter there, and then I just hit a lot of red tape. And then after about 3 months of red tape and not really talking to anybody, and kind of I just didn't feel too good about the entire process. I think at that point I made a decision that I was not going to work for any studio, and I was going to figure out how to do it on my own, and then I wouldn't have to deal with any of these issues of being critiqued or looked at or judged.
Which is a huge decision, because you have the talent, and then you had all different kinds of contacts through coincidence and through hard work. And you'd think that those two things would be enough to get in the door at Disney, get in the door anywhere. And then
it's also, it's not like going out on your own. I feel like in the animation world is not a clear path by any means. And
right.
The entire film industry, there's no right way.
The entire film industry, but animation is it takes such a massive machine to make animation. I mean, also you could
it's not like
just
running and gunning
yourself.
It's not like running and gunning an independent film with two actors. Right? Is it? I don't know.
It just takes a lot. It takes a lot of grit. So it's pretty incredible to be like, no, I'm going to do this on my own, and
to get so close to getting a foot in the door of a big studio, and then saying, I got to do this my way is pretty.
But it sounds
bold.
like the same moment with the soccer, where it's like, no, just not going to do. I'm going to do this other thing. I have a feeling I'm going to do this other thing.
Yeah, I think a lot of my decisions are just go off of gut instinct. Where I'm like, this feels more right. This one doesn't feel right, even though it has more money opportunity, and then I go with it.
But back to the character design, is that ultimately your favorite part of the process?
No, my favorite part of the process is definitely writing.
Okay,
writing episodes.
Cool.
I think is the most fun.
Really? Okay, wow.
So I think all arts, they're all connected. So if you come close to mastering or really understand the theories behind one specific art, you can transfer it into any other art. So if you like really understand character design, how to get into character, understanding the soul of the character, what lines depict these different things that your audience will really relate to and then believe, because you're creating this illusion of life. If you can do that in one thing, then you just take those theories and apply them to the next thing. So what a good director, they don't just do shot coverage. Every shot has meaning and a way to derive an emotion from the audience, so it gets remembered. So if you can really master one thing, I'm not saying that I master character design, because I'm friends with some character designers and I'm just not on their level. I can fake my way in some of these studios, but I'm not drawing 16 hours a day like some of these other guys. But if you know enough about it, I think you can reapply to the things to the entire thing and become really broad and masterful in a lot of different areas.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the other thing that now I feel even more honored, because around 2010 or 9, you were willing to take on a project that I asked your help with. I think I called your brother and I said, "Hey, is Michael busy?" And the folks know the theme music of this podcast is made by What Does It Eat? Or What Does It Eat is the band that I'm in with Howie. And I had this idea for a cover and I scribbled it in like pencil and sent it to Michael, and Michael made the album cover and associated art for Hot Points, which is now it's hitting its 11th birthday right now. And I've always loved that. And actually, if you can't see right now, but in my office, the original art, like the inspiration for that, which were these old ads for Hot Point appliances, is actually still hanging in my office. So that I'm very grateful that you took the time to work on that project for me. What made you say yes to that? If you're saying no to all these other, like Disney, no, I'll take it. But Shy,
it wasn't a very complex job, you know. Also, you're friends with my brother, so he asked, you know, I was like, all right, I'll do that. I probably put 4 hours into that. I mean, I just found some images online and then vector traced them and then changed them up a little bit. And I had just bought my first Cintiq tablet, so I was really just into
taking it for a spin.
Things. Yeah.
Well, you did an amazing job, and I still have those I still have those PSD files, so I will get you a T-shirt that fits you. I promise.
Yeah, I didn't really need to draw anything. I kind of just needed to like copy things I saw online, so it wasn't as intimidating as somebody being like, "Can you design 3 characters for my comic book?" or like other people.
Right.
That's fair. I
draw my entire comic book in a week.
I had a vague plan. And then you made it awesome.
Yeah, you said you wanted a fridge with something inside, maybe a record player coming out of it.
It was a fridge and a record player. Yeah, because it was the idea, and that's right. The back cover is a fridge with a Victrola in it. Yeah. So yeah, I'll again T-shirt coming your way. Okay, so this has been amazing. One of the things we love to do with our guests is talk about the things in pop culture that they dig. Maybe put some challenges in front of them. But in general, before we put you to the test here, what's some of the animation things that you think have been fantastic in the world of animation right now? Like for us and our family, I would say Spider-Verse has been the peak thing that all of us have said, agreed that this is the best thing we've seen. And then Lily doesn't get to participate in this because she has scoffed at it. But Becky and I are
I don't scoff at it. I haven't had a chance.
Avatar Airbender universe.
We're very immersed in the Avatar verse.
Animated storytelling. Those two, I would say, like the things to us that are been the most, I think, amazing and inspiring. What about you?
Avatar is amazing, but it's old, right? I mean, they're not
it's really old.
Things.
I mean, beyond animation, I think it's one of the best stories told ever.
I really did like Spider-Verse. I think coming to mind, Paranorman.
Oh, that's cool. That's a weird one. That's cool.
It's directed like, I think it's one of the better directed animated feature films of the past decade. I think I put it in my top 5. I think that's the one that I really love right now. And then everything else, I'm kind of drawing a blank. I mean, Pixar does so many amazing things. Sometimes their movies are complete. Oh, what was the oh my gosh, the one that just came out about the mermaid kid in Italy? I love Luca. Yeah. So I think that was like a perfect execution of simplification, and like, I don't know, I thought that movie was flawless.
Awesome.
I love that. And then there's like other Pixar movies that I love, but then like there's small little parts of storytelling that I may not like. For instance, Up, which is an amazing movie. Mm-hmm. But I always felt like.
By the way, I am well on the record saying I can't stand that movie. So
I love that movie.
I love Up, but
I'm so curious
like,
what doesn't work for you.
I felt like the villains were forced. Like it was an afternote thought that was put in the movie, and they weren't needed. It could have just been
that entire part of the movie, which is like a third of the movie or more, is basically what's it called? Despicable Me.
Despicable Me is great.
I like Despicable. I'm a Despicable Me 2 guy myself. I like that second one installment.
But I like Up. I just thought that the villains weren't needed. I want to be very clear. That movie's great.
The mortality of the old man was enough.
What I like these days is that on Disney Plus in the Pixar section, they have a new section of shorts called Spark Shorts, which are just all the different employees, like anyone who works there has the opportunity to make a short film, and they put a little bit of funding into it. And you have a certain amount of time, and get like 6 months or a year or something to make this short film with a small team. And so they're actually churning out so many different types of stories now with different animation styles. And it's really fun to explore that and just see what, these aren't people who are directing the next big feature film. They're just animators.
Well, I feel like it's a test system for who's going to be directing the next big feature film.
But it's a way to give all these incredibly creative and talented people an opportunity to direct something and to go up to the next level.
And they do a really great job.
There's so
we
many
love watching those.
So one of the ones that I adore the most is Burrow that I think it was nominated for an Oscar.
The bird.
No, that's the one with the rabbit. It's one with the rabbit building his home underground.
I don't know if I saw that one.
It's a bunny who's making his home underground, and disaster entails, and all the other little underground critters come to the rescue, and they team up, and it's hand drawn. I mean, I think it looks like it's hand drawn. I don't know if maybe they do that in CG these days, but it's really beautiful, and it's a wonderful story. So that's like one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I think the majority of people in animation.
I think like short, maybe it's a real one. I don't remember.
All I know is that it's allowed my
Lily's
say the term. I'd like to watch a short film today. Oh no! What happened? Am I back? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, either way, we mic on. Go ahead.
Sorry, I said the Pixar thing has just allowed my 5-year-old to say things like, "I'd like to watch a short film now," which is hilarious. I find because I didn't even know short films existed till university or whatever.
What time does the shorts program begin, Mom?
Exactly. Watch a series of shorts now, which I just think is adorable.
And I like that you can go to Disneyland and you can go to their theater there and watch 4 of them in a row or something like that. Sometimes.
Oh, cool.
When I was a 1-year member, I would go.
All right, now we're going to put you to the test. We're going to make you make some hard choices. Okay, we have a signature show on a signature bit on the show called Buy Rent Meh, and in Buy Rent Meh, you have to. We're going to give you 3 things, and you're going to have to assign a value to them: a buy, a rent, or a meh. Each one can only have one. Buy means you bought it. You're from the 80s or 90s, right? You bought the VHS. You liked it that much, like me with Army of Darkness, or That Thing You Do. Those are 2 VHSs I owned, or the Star Wars original, trilogy. Rent means you would rent it. You'd go to the video store, you'd spend a couple of bucks, and you'd give it back, preferably on time, so you didn't end up paying the same amount as you would have just to buy it. And then meh can be however you want to define meh. It doesn't have to be the third worst one. So you have to decide. You have to sort of define how you're using meh. It can be an inquisitive meh. It can be a indifferent meh. That's up to you. So the first category we're going to throw at you is cult animated films. I'm using cult kind of broadly here, but I would say these are films. I think 2 of them are definitely not made for kids, or maybe they were because they're from a long time ago, and that's just how they made things for kids. But these are movies that I think are highly regarded in the animation world, but have a deep following and are a little bit odd. So here we go. We've got Ralph Bakshi's Lord of the Rings, all the rotoscoping and all that stuff. It's still nightmare fuel for me. Akira, which I only recently watched for my first time, and I watched it in Japanese with the subtitles, of course, which kind of blew my mind and also terrified me. And then The Iron Giant, Brad Bird's The Iron Giant, which is I guess a little more modern.
It's made for kids.
We got some 70s here, we got some 80s, and now we've got later.
I'd buy Akira because I think it's the best animated movie ever. It's fantastic. That movie's incredible. So that's a definite buy.
Okay.
Then The Iron Giant would be next as a rent, which also should be a buy.
And so you're just gonna keep it from the video store.
Yeah, and then I met Lord of the Rings.
Pretend you gave it back, and you're gonna ban Lord of the Rings. Yeah, and I would say Akira. So I just recently watched it. The whole end is insane, right? Like the movie is like psychic motorcycle people chasing each other conspiracy, and then that guy turns into a
You have to watch it more times, I think.
Oh, okay. No, I'm not complaining about it. I thought it was
but
wild.
I think you still need to watch the movie like 5 times probably
before you really get it. I did rewatch the last half hour multiple times.
I don't know if you ever could really get that movie, but I mean, the movie's amazing. I don't know how to talk about it. It's just fantastic. Like the artwork's flawless all the way through. The backgrounds are some of the most beautiful handmade things ever. The story's phenomenal. The characters are great. The guy that created it does all of it, which is just insane. If you ever get the comic books, they're just like some
amazing.
of the most intense artwork ever. It's just, I mean,
I will say,
it's the apex of all animated film. I think.
Having finally seen it, I have heard over the years people talk about making a live action version of it. There should be no live action version of that movie.
Oh, I would watch a live action version of it.
You would.
I'd be fine with that. I mean, it won't be as good, but it'll be fun. Like, who cares?
I'd be into it, but I understand why people wouldn't make it. Because
I mean, you're no matter what, you're not gonna please. You're gonna have too many critics.
Yeah, it's not gonna be what else. Okay, let's go now. We talked about Disney, but the guy that I'm really fascinated with, and I think we're all really into, is Don Bluth. Because he's sort of like I guess he did Disney stuff, but he also was like one of the guys who stood up to Disney and had his own really distinct style, and it's a style that is a big part of our childhood. I don't know how much you grew up watching his films, but we definitely did. And also there's a darkness in his animated stuff that's really interesting. So The Land Before Time, The Secret of Nim, and An American Tail.
So I guess I would buy The Land Before Time, not because it's the best, but I definitely will make the most money off of that.
I like your rationale because you're not trying to say like they're all good films, is what you're saying. So you're just gonna go with that one.
Yeah, I mean, The Rats and Nim's my favorite one of that. I mean, I had a VHS; it would be in my dad's van, and we'd watch it on road trips nonstop. And I mean, like the villain's windy sword with bendy sword was like a big visual impact for me, and the teeth in that movie, or when the rats get shot, creeped me out as a kid.
Oh, when they get the shots when they're in the flashback.
Like the acid trip. So that's the one I would.
It's definitely not the most marketable to children.
And Nicodemus, right? Like Nicodemus is like one of the most like terrifying old wise men ever.
Oh, I was never scared of him because he kills that spider. And I was like, oh, that guy's cool.
He scared me in this movie.
And then I guess The Land Before Time would be the one I rent. And I just don't remember Five Will Goes West. I haven't seen it.
No, not Five Will Goes West.
No,
the first
American
one.
Tail.
American Tail, even better. I don't remember either of them.
All right. Well, if you're going to watch it, bring a box of tissues. Because that is
also
emotional.
The most Jewish of the three.
It's definitely the most Jewish.
It's a very Jewish movie, so...
We harp a lot on this show, and of how, even though we know there are a lot of Jews involved in the entertainment industry, the few and far between really good Jewish stories where like the Jewish characters aren't just Larry David, who is hilarious and a genius, but I'm just saying like that's not how I want everyone to think Jews are. American Tail's pretty good because it's got that whole immigrant story.
It's like when our grandmothers came to, New York, fleeing the pogroms. That's their story.
Although I don't know from your side, from your Peruvian side, are they from Eastern Europe originally?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So they fled pogroms too. So you might dig it.
Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, I definitely dug it. I just don't remember it.
All right. Cool.
Again, talking about a children's animated movie and fleeing pogroms being the theme, I feel like he's correct on The Land Before Time being the most marketable of these three films.
Only one of these three movies has 10 sequels. I think The Land Before Time has 10 different.
And a TV show.
Yeah. And it'll have more.
There you go. All right. Animated shows not for kids. Lily made this category, and I have to say, I've seen one episode of Rick and Morty. I love the intro credits for Bojack Horseman because recurring friend of the show, Mike Roberts,
made them.
but it's never a show as a whole. Like I get that it's genius that I've connected to, and then South Park, which I remember when it came out, and I love it, but I haven't seen a South Park episode in a long time. So, Lily, before we give Michael these, what made you pick these three?
Because I
Michael
find
to
the
choose
three just, I don't know, they just came, it's the three that popped in my head.
All right.
There's so many, I mean, there's so many animated shows. I wasn't going to put The Simpsons on there. And I just felt like there's just so many, but these are the three that popped in my head. And I was like, these are interesting enough. I don't know. If you want to switch any out, you're
No, I
more
don't
than
wanna-
welcome
I
to.
think it's a great category.
All right.
So it
Michael.
was South Park,
Rick and Morty.
Rick and Morty, and then
And
Bojack
BoJack
Horseman.
Horseman.
So I buy South Park. I mean, the show's
Interesting.
amazing, super smart. It's fantastic, and I'm actually working with the woman who greenlit that project, so I have to support my own.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
She knows what she's doing. That's incredible.
And then number two would be, what was the other two?
Rick and Morty and BoJack Horseman.
Number two would the one I would rent is Rick and Morty because it's really original, it's hilarious, it's ridiculous, it's edgy. And then BoJack Horseman would be the one and that's just because it's really well done, it's fantastic, it's written very well. I just don't like the writing styles where the characters tell you everything to the screen. I like when things are not said, and I feel like everything in that show is said. So it's
Becky will agree with you. Becky is one of the biggest anti-inner monologue exposition people I know. And because of that,
The less I know what's going on in a movie or a show, the more I enjoy it, which is why I love The Witcher so much, because I didn't understand. The less you tell me, the more I'm going to love it. But yeah.
Michael, thank you so much. Before we get out of the show, we always like to talk about what we've been watching, what we're into, give shout outs to people. One of our shout outs a time ago was Do Re and Me when it was going to be launched, which of course we're in as a given. We are shouting out to Do Re and Me on Amazon Prime. It's an amazing show for kids. It's raising Becky's kids as we speak. We wish it many more seasons, and it has great, not only does it have great merch, but the merch all comes packed in this super green Amazon packaging.
The only Amazon
with you can color.
Tolerable Amazon packaging that exists.
And you can color in the boxes and stuff.
And
are your kids playing the app?
No, we haven't gotten to the app.
No, haven't gotten to the app yet.
Get a Kindle Fire. It's available on the Kindle Fire now, or is it Kindle? I don't know if they've changed the name of the Kindle Fire, but you have access to the app in that, and then it'll be coming out on iOS and Android in 2022.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Oh,
Very
I can't
cool.
get that
All
soon
right.
enough.
Yeah, Becky needs that. She's got to travel. All right,
that
Lily, what have you been watching? What are you into, Lil?
Quickly, I'm just going to say Succession, even though I'm late to the party. The Succession party. I know people are really into that show.
I'm late too. We're almost through the second season.
I'm in the third season, but no, sorry. Yes, I'm in the third season, but yeah, that show is a lot. I had the privilege and the joy of watching The Witcher season 2 with the two of you in person last week.
Wait, but do we have to still keep watching? Can we just watch now whenever we want, or are we waiting to watch together?
It was such an amazing experience. I'm not going to keep watching it. So,
Lily,
so you'll wait till we're back
together? You're
together?
going to be back here. We can maybe watch it together. How about that?
Well, we can discuss this off camera.
Okay.
Let's stay on the same schedule.
But that was so fun because the best is when Becky has to explain that show to me and Shy. Because that's a show that I enjoy watching so much, but understand nothing about.
I don't stress about knowing a lot. I just know he's a Witcher. He's got a sword. He fights a bad guy. He's in love with a girl. That's bad news for him.
How do you not know who Philandro is?
There's a little.
Becky's like naming ancient elves when we're watching.
She's got to chase one of the Fanning kids, and
so
right.
That was super fun watching that show with the two of you. And they made an animated show about, like, I guess the origins of that or the prequel, and I'm intrigued. I don't know. I might
Michael,
have to
have you watched that, the animated show?
Can't believe you're going to watch that before you watch Avatar.
No,
don't talk to me.
I have not. Avatar's great.
Yeah, Lily. See,
yes, I'm not saying it's not.
Avatar.
Hit showrunner Michael Scharf.
Korra, Legends of Korra is also great.
They're obsessed too.
We're obsessed with it.
Yeah, the whole
We're
Avatar.
obsessed. Becky and
even
I
the
own
extension
all
of the
art
Avatar
books.
verse, including Dragon Prince, I love. That's like I
Which is-
consider an extension of it because it has
It's a
some of
multi.
the same
No,
creatives.
it's just by the same. It's by the
It's like
animation studio.
it's like
I
a
think is.
cousin. It's a cousin because it's
Yeah,
the
it's
same.
not the same
Some of the same
universe.
creatives. It's not the same universe.
But it has
It's
a
a cousin.
similar
It's
aesthetic.
a relative.
All right.
And I'm not finished.
Oh my God, Lily, Michael.
Oh my God, Lily,
This
other
guy's
people
time
have
is
to
worth
go.
money. Look at him. He's
I have to
busy.
tell the people
He
who
has
are waiting
other
to
things to
listen
do.
for the other shows that I like to watch.
he's got to watch
So-
The Matrix tonight.
Okay, just give me a second. Working Moms season 5 or 4, whatever the newest season is really good. And it is not easy to keep making a show like that good. Most of those shows jump the shark. And Catherine Reitman is amazing. So mazel tov to her because she's doing a great job. And yeah,
That's it.
done.
Okay, Becky, how about you?
I've been watching the same things as my siblings. I've been watching The Witcher. I'm sure whatever you guys name.
You've been watching The Expanse.
Spider-Man. I'm still watching The Expanse, same as every week. I'm still watching The Expanse. I watched the the new Spider-Man movie. I watched part of Venom, but had to go to bed. So I was so tired. But it seemed really good. The first
was-
half hour was fun.
Venom delivered on its promise. How about that? That's the way I would
Okay.
describe Venom. Let there be carnage. So, but before I do that, Michael,
Okay,
anything
so that's
else
it.
other
I'm just
than
watching
the app? Is
everything
there
that
anything?
you two are watching.
Anything else you want to mention?
What am I watching, or anything I want to mention?
You can say what
Both?
you want to mention, or you can keep what you're watching a mystery as one of the many mysterious, Scharf things that
No,
are.
I mean I don't actually watch a lot of things.
Well, if you're creating stuff all day, I don't blame you. It's like,
Yeah, well, I just don't want to. I don't want to like get influenced by somebody else's stuff. But what I have watched is Invincible because I used to read all the comic books growing up. I used to own them all, or I probably still do somewhere.
that's really cool.
So I watched that. Ted Lasso I recently watched. I liked that a lot. That was a good feel good TV show.
finished
that.
There's not a lot of great feel good stuff. What else am I watching? I don't know. I guess that's kind of it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Those are good. Those are all good quality things. All right.
I want to watch The Good Place. I'm still on season 1.
Ooh,
I'm
that's
that's
a-
a great show.
that shows. That shows.
What a gift to yourself that you haven't seen it yet, that you'll now get to
It picks up,
touch it
though.
for the first time.
I feel like it does. It does pick up.
It's that first season is so great because self-contained. It's very, very funny and a great meditation on the afterlife, but then it bursts open into layers and layers and layers of story and universe building
The characters
and questions about existential good and evil and choice and yeah, that shows one of the most ambitious stories I've ever seen told in a regular comedy. Like we're very lucky that we got that show because I
Oh,
don't
that's
think
awesome.
It's exactly. It's very philosophical. There's some really beautiful lessons, and
and it has about as perfect an ending as a show like that could have because I think it's a challenging show ultimately because it talks a lot about making choices and it talks a lot about what the right thing to do is, and the show doesn't make everything perfect at the end, right? It's not like a Scooby-Doo type of happy ending like the end of Wayne's World. But I would say it was like so thoughtful and so perfectly put together. It's really beautiful. True masterpiece. You should check that out.
Oh, and Visions, Visions, the Star Wars shorts. On
Oh, the
Disney
anime
Plus.
thing?
Yeah, I love that. That was fun.
That's cool. I love Star Wars so much, but it's been a really rough, ever since The Last Jedi, it's been really rough for me. So the whole thing has been an emotional roller coaster.
No, I like The Last Jedi. That was my favorite of the new ones.
Oh.
okay, we're gonna have a
Okay,
whole
well,
separate
it was
podcast
nice
for
having
this.
you on.
It
We will
was
not be
lovely-
airing this.
Lovely to
episode.
reconnect.
Everyone
Now?
hates that movie. I thought it was really
Okay,
smart.
goodbye.
Good luck with your career.
No.
Yeah, you never.
I'm not mad at. I don't get mad at people who like the movie.
I just
anymore
feel like
because-
you now have fired up for a debate.
No. That's
Well, I
not.
have to watch it. I have to watch it again to
no.
remember.
My
Like,
issue with
I
The
watched
Last
it-
Jedi now is because everything that's come since
Sure,
then
we
has
don't
been-
have time for this.
It just that it broke Star Wars. Until then, everyone kind of agreed on what was good and what was bad. The Last Jedi, like even if you like,
But Star Wars doesn't have to be good. It just has to be entertaining. It's like
Oh.
it's like a superhero movie. It doesn't have to be good. It just has to be fun.
I guess
Like
so.
you're not going to see Scorsese. You're going to see Star
Oof.
Wars.
So then,
Oof.
You know?
then
This is
Then
Very difficult topic.
If they had made that movie fun, we would be on. I would understand everything you're saying right now. But there's almost nothing about that movie that was fun for me.
You had a hard
You didn't
time.
like the zoo and space part?
I
No?
didn't like the zoo in
There's
space.
tiny,
There's a
tiny
lot of
creatures.
The blue breast milk.
A lot of
Didn't
animals.
do it for you.
I don't remember any of that.
What did you say?
Give it a
No wonder
rewatch.
you love the movie. No,
Like,
that's why
you
love
don't
it.
remember my childhood hero milking a sea cow.
With blue breast milk. But I don't want to forget. Mike wanted to recommend Rick Glassman's As We See It.
Oh yeah, Rick.
As We See It, January 21st.
Yeah, thanks Rick for introducing me to Jackie Tone.
That's awesome.
And he has a show coming out. So shout out to him.
And then I watched a whole bunch of Marvel movies or Marvel related movies. I watched Shang-Chi.
Oh, that was fun. I just watched that.
Yeah,
That one was
fun.
super fun, and I loved
The
that.
fight scenes were awesome.
It was super fun, and I loved that it didn't rely on the rest of the Marvel universe to be enjoyable. Like, it was in the Marvel world, and there were some notes here and there, but you could watch it and not have to know everything else that had happened in the Avengers. And Awkwafina's freaking awesome. I just love that she's in a Marvel movie.
She's hilarious.
I like that one a lot. Venom Let There Be Carnage, which is the Sony Marvel universe, delivers on its promise. It's just sort of like violent and off-putting, and Tom Hardy and the alien are funny together. And then Spider-Man No Way Home was long. It was really long, but there's a lot of really good payoffs in it, is the best way to describe it. And then today I watched, like, in and out of a few different naps, because it's sort of like I watched it in a couple of sittings, but I watched The Founder with Michael Keaton, the one about McDonald's.
McDonald's? I've always wanted to see that. Was it good?
He's so good. He's so good, and he plays this pretty villainous character.
Should be in so many more things.
But it's opposite Nick Offerman. Nick Offerman plays one of the true founders of McDonald's, and he's really subtle and quiet in it, and I really, really loved those. That performance was an extra gem that I didn't know I was going to see, and it was amazing. So I really liked The Founder. I thought that was really cool. And then I just want to say, from a music standpoint, just so we can close on a promoting Do Re and Me note. When I practice drums, I listen to different songs that I like, and I'll groove along to them different. And I was listening to Jackie Tone's Deep Like, which is not a song for kids. It is a hilarious song about deep liking things on Instagram, and I love it, and the video is hilarious. And I was jamming along to it on Spotify, but I guess the algorithm, I share the phone, my Spotify with my kids and Lily and whatever. The algorithm said, "Oh, you like Jackie Tone, so we're going to start giving you Do Re and Me songs next." So it went from like adult humor to Raspberry Cupcakes, and Raspberry Cupcakes has like a sweet time signature change, and that song is a killer jam. I
love it. I think that's Jackie's least favorite song from the series. I'm not sure.
That's so funny, because I think musically it's so fun to play. Like, as a drummer, I like
that song a lot too, but I vaguely remember that being her least favorite, but I'm not sure.
Well, she was very nice to me when I told her I liked it. Thank goodness. Okay.
We have a new batch of episodes coming out January 14th. Batch 2 of season 1. And it has two of my favorite songs on it. One is an opera song.
Oh, wow.
And then one is like this reggae song about learning to take a deep breath, and like for kids
that's
learning to like
cool.
That's beautiful.
The reggae song might become my new favorite then, because that sounds fantastic. Well, Michael, where can January 14th, new episodes of Do Re and Me. Everyone should go buy all the merch on Amazon. Are there any other places you want people to follow you or your work?
You can follow me on, what's my Instagram handle? Give me a second. Social media gives me anxiety. Give me a second. I am on Instagram at _Michael. The worst at promoting myself.
How did you remember that? That's
HARF_Michael.
Yeah. And that's
your
the only
Instagram is fun, especially when you do the drawing, when you're out drawing with your other drawing pals.
Oh yeah, we meet every Friday. That group is talented. We have the head character designer of what's the new Outback show on Outback feature film on Netflix?
Oh, yeah.
Return to the Outback.
Return to Outback. We watched that. I mean, my 4-year-old and I watched that on the flight over here.
Awesome. Yeah, Jesse Ackland. He designed all those. He head character designed those characters.
Cool.
Tim Lamb meets up with us. He's the what's one step up from art director? I don't know.
Production designer?
Yeah, he's the production designer of DreamWorks feature. He designed all the characters in all the Troll movies. That's pretty much all his work. Who else comes there? Willie Reel, big character designer from Pixar. Also, Tonko House, Netflix. He's been all over the place. Who else goes to that group? I'm just shouting out all my friends.
That's awesome.
Yeah, Mel Art. She's a character designer at Disney. Nick, all over the place. It's a really talented group of people. Woodrow White comes there. Visual development artist at Nickelodeon. His father comes from a family of artists. His father designed all the sets for Pee-wee's Playhouse. He has always has really awesome artwork because of the influence from his family and just his wacky behavior. I don't know. It's a cool group. I don't post so much about that group on social media because we've been doing it for so long that a lot of people start showing up, strangers we don't know. And
I dig the illustrations. I can't. I'm across the country. I can't show up. I just dig the illustrations. You can show them after the fact if you want. But it's a real treat. Thank you, Michael. Lily, where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter, Chichi K Gomez on Twitter.
Becky, where can we follow you?
I have Instagram, but it's
at
not public.
Paper BK Princess on Twitter.
I just followed you, Becky. We're now friends.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, but not the random fans of this show. No, I'm just kidding. Chances are, if you listening to the show, you are a friend of mine. You should totally follow me.
Yeah, I mean, say I'm Lily Corman on Instagram, so I assume you can find me if we're friends.
And you can follow me at Pancake and the number 4 table, Pancake 4 table on Twitter and Instagram. All of the Friday Night Movie shenanigans are at Fry Night Movie on Twitter and Instagram. Join our mailing list that's on FridayNightMoviePod.com. If you join that, you're going to get less than a monthly newsletter. Who else is promising not a lot of emails with their email list? But you will get our subscriber exclusive playlists that we've been sending out, collecting from the over 250 episodes of this show. Some really cool thematic playlists and giveaways. We got some cool merch. Becky, Lily doesn't know this yet, but there are Becky and Lily's characters as they were redesigned by Lindsay Goldberg, aka Aferos, or Afertoon, I think is her new handle. There are individual clear little characters of Becky and Lily's characters. So we'll be giving those away then probably in the next email. And the theme music is by What Does It Eat? The album Hot Points, which is on Spotify, which I haven't talked about in 10 years. The cover was designed by the Mi-chael Scharf, our guest. And we want to say a huge thank you to Michael.
Thank you.
And wish him and Jackie and everybody else involved with Re Mi tremendous success. The show is fantastic. We know a lot of parents listen to our shows, so go get watching the show with your kids right now. Thanks so much for being here, Michael.
Thank you.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, it was nice catching up with all of you guys since I was 10. Thanks so much for having me.